What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and it's actually really late on Monday morning on March 15th. I'm a late person. I stay up late, so it's just kind of my normal thing. But I decided to make a video based on an article that was written yesterday about how the Dolphins trades have gone over the past couple years. It was written by Alan Pupar. You know, he writes for Sports Illustrated, but he covers the Dolphins and has for a long time. I thought the article was really interesting. I'm going to go through it, but I had to do a fair amount of my own research along with it, because I wanted to make sure I was able to connect all of the connecting trades, draft day trades, trades that happened on draft day, that kind of connected everything. So I know where, all the draft picks ended up going. Did they end up picking somebody, or did they end up trading that pick away again, so on and so forth, right? So I had to go through it, and there's a lot to talk about, but it's interesting because, as we've talked about, and, I'm the negative guy, right? But I'm the one that points out the reality of the situation, and that is that they're not, certain things like that they're not very good at player evaluation and stuff like that, that their draft classes haven't really been all that good. And frankly, at the end of the day, a large part of, that, and, part of what, or one of the things that goes hand in hand with those other things is that they haven't been good with their trades. So now in his article here, he writes, his evaluations are and his framing is definitely more flowery than what I would say. And his evaluations are definitely a lot nicer to the Dolphins than what I'm going to be, because it's misleading, because he kind of paints a picture as if, the Dolphins have been doing really well with their trades. And a lot of people think so, especially with ones like, the Laramie Tunsil trade or whatever. But the fact of the matter is that at the end of the day, they haven't had a lot of return. They've actually just been dumping off resources and really haven't gotten shit for the guys that they brought in. But let's go ahead and go through this. So let's see. The Miami Dolphins have now made 19 trades involving players since the start of 2019. So, obviously, we're focusing on the Brian Flores and Chris Grier regime of the Dolphins. So just the past couple seasons, there have been few organizations as aggressive with major moves as the Miami Dolphins over the past couple of years. So nobody should have been surprised by their latest trade. That includes trades and free agency, right? And stuff like that. And I don't like it. I don't like the way that because I think it's way too risky. But anyway, let's continue on. The acquisition of linebacker Benardrick McKinney from the Houston Texans in exchange for edge defender Shaq Lawson, with late picks being swapped, will become the 19th trade the Dolphins have made since head coach Brian Flores took over as head coach in February 2019 and teamed up with general manager Chris Grier to lead the team. Here's a quick rundown of all the trades with a quick verdict if applicable. Which, to be fair, some things obviously haven't played out yet, right? Because some of these trades are super new. We have to wait and see what happens, blah, blah, blah. Some of the picks haven't been used, right? Because some of the picks end up being, 2021 picks. Even there's even in this breakdown that I have, I did a whole thing, right? Like, here you guys can see, my handwriting's not that great. There's a little on the back. But I did a whole breakdown to make sure I tracked and mapped where all these picks and stuff went. And, there's even a couple 2022 picks. So some of them haven't been used yet. And so there's still some unknowns, some things that are not able to be determined yet. So first, let's start. March 18th, 2019, traded quarterback Ryan Tannehill and a 2019 6th-round pick to Tennessee for a 2019 7th-round pick and a 2020 4th-round pick. Here's what he had to say. The move certainly worked out great for Tannehill and the Titans because his career took off after the trade. But his stay in Miami had run its course, and the Dolphins did well to get a 4th-round pick for a player who needed to move on. So I'm going to try and keep this as short as I possibly can. on its face, it is true that Ryan Tannehill's time, ran its course in Miami. And certainly a lot of Dolphins fans, believe that he sucks and he should be gone and fucking blah, 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 which is absurd because the facts just don't bear that out. His records don't bear that out. His stats don't bear that out. The intangibles don't bear that out. But anyway, so... I disagree that he just needed to be gotten rid of. First of all, and I thought he was performing just fine, especially under the conditions, the constantly changing coordinators and coaches, and the offensive line that led him to being the most sacked quarterback in the first 4 years of his career, right? Like all those, not having playmakers, not having a good defense, all those things. So not having coaches that believe in you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it wasn't that. It was a failure of the Dolphins organization to, one, properly build a team, two, properly instill culture, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a failure on them, and that continues to be a failure. And frankly, at the end of the day, no, they didn't win that trade. And it's not good on them because at the end of the day, and we're going to get into this, what those picks and stuff actually turned into, but he's having a great time and a great career now in fucking Tennessee and proving that he is a great quarterback, and that if you just believe in him and give him fucking a well-rounded team, he will give you everything that you absolutely need from him. So, but anyway, so let's take a look at that, right? So we traded away, we got a 2019 7th round pick, right, from that. We used that pick on Chandler Cox. They didn't use him very much. They kept him on the sideline, and then now he's not even on the team. So that analysis, first of all, it's super short, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and it's not very detailed. It's just a quick, run by, but it's still ridiculous because it still frames it in a way that makes it sound like it was a win for the Dolphins and a smart thing to do, which is not accurate. Because look right now, first of all, the Dolphins quarterback situation, it's by no means settled. Not even close to settled, right? Even if they get Deshaun Watson, it still won't be settled. They still need to make sure they build a proper team around him and prove that they can do that, and then prove that they can consistently get to the playoffs, etc., etc. So they're still a ways from that. They're still at least years from that, no matter who the quarterback is. So while Ryan Tannehill's having a good time in Tennessee, winning and getting to fucking his division, winning division championships and getting to the AFC championship game a couple years ago, etc., right? Like, and making it to the playoffs 2 years in a row. He's having a great time because he is a great quarterback, and Miami's stupid for fucking giving him up or whatever. We turned that into a 2019 7th round pick that turned into Chandler Cox, who's not on the team anymore. That also turned into a 2020 4th round pick that ended up getting traded away again to the Texans. So if you look at just that trade, what did we net from it? We don't have Chandler Cox anymore, and we don't have that 2020 4th round pick. Obviously the 2020 draft is over, but we don't have those things. We don't have the draft capital anymore, which we'll get to more on that 4th round pick in a bit and how that mapped out down the line. But so far we didn't fucking, there's like no return from that trade. Let's continue on. They then the next trade, March 29th, 2019, traded defensive end Robert Quinn to Dallas for a 2020 6th round pick. Quinn had an 11.5 sack season with the Cowboys in 2019 before bombing in Chicago last year. Yes, they signed him to just a 1-year deal. He did great there. And, then they let him become a free agent again. And it didn't work out quite so well in Chicago. I think he had some injuries and stuff too. But the point is, though, and really my point here on this, there's a couple things. One, I mean, at the time, obviously I was not down with the tank. I was not down with the purge. Robert Quinn was one of the guys that I said at the time I was somewhat indifferent. I didn't mind if they got rid of him, but at the same time I would have rather have kept him because we needed pass rush, and obviously we didn't have any that following year, etc., etc. And then he ended up having an 11.5 sack season for the Cowboys, right? I was good with getting rid of Andre Branch. He wasn't really fucking shit, right? Get rid of him. Charles Harris, I was still willing to give him another shot, but at the same time getting rid of him, which ended up happening later, fine as well, right? But Quinn I would have kept. Cam Wake I would have kept, right? I would have kept those two guys for sure. But anyway, so they got rid of him, and they got a 2020 sixth round pick, which they later ended up trading to Indianapolis. So again, you get rid of you get rid of a pass rusher that the following year had 11 and a half sacks and certainly could have helped you when you really need pass rush and didn't have any that same year that he got 11 and a half sacks. And then, you end up trading away that 2020 sixth rounder. So where's so far, still not seeing any profit or benefit for the Dolphins. Okay, let's continue on. What's the next trade? April 26th, 2019, traded a 2019 second round pick and a 2020 fifth round pick to Arizona for quarterback Josh Rosen. And this is what he has to say. Now that Rosen is 2 teams removed from the Dolphins after time with the Bucs and 49ers, it's safe to say this one didn't work out. Well, hindsight is 2020, as everybody says, but I told you guys at the time that it was absolutely stupid. I would have absolutely kept Ryan Tannehill and guys like, first of all, again, I wouldn't have fired Gase. I would have let him have another year or two because I thought he was building something great. But instead of doing what they did, I would have kept Ryan Tannehill. I would have kept a lot of those veteran guys, right, and whatever. I wouldn't have traded Tunsil or Fitzpatrick or Kenyon Drake. I wouldn't have traded any of those fucking guys. I would have Cameron Wake. I would have kept them all. I would have kept Gase and I would have kept it going. But, having said that, they moved on or whatever. But I told you guys, I wouldn't have fucking, I wouldn't have traded for Tannehill. I would not traded Tannehill away. I would not have traded for Rosen. Instead, I would have taken an offensive lineman in round 1. Then I would have taken a defensive lineman in round 2 with the pick that we didn't have, right? Because in the 2019 draft, we literally just didn't even have a second round pick because they got rid of it, right? So instead of that, I would have had an offensive lineman in round 1, defensive lineman in round 2, and taken quarterback Will Grier in round 3 to come up behind Tannehill. Because as you know, I would never take a quarterback in round 1 or 2, but every year in 3 or later, depending on how much you need one. And at the time, I would say that taking one in round 3 would be good to bring up behind a guy like Tannehill. And I've consistently said that as much as I love Fitzpatrick, I'd still rather have Tannehill be the mentor because he's just better. He's done way more than Ryan Fitzpatrick in half the time. It's just not even a competition. It's just not. Anyway, so I told you guys at the time it was going to be a massive, massive, massive mistake. Hold on, let me finish what he said though. But you can't complain about this trade if you're going to complain about a team not doing whatever it can to land a franchise quarterback. Well, it's a good thing that I don't bitch about that, right? It's a good thing that I don't have the philosophy of all you need is a quarterback, because it's a fucking a team sport. There's 11 guys on the field at a time, not to mention the coaches who also have to do their job properly, right? So really, if you think about it, it's actually more than just an 11-man team sport. There's 11 guys on the field at once, but then you have to take into consideration the coaches, and if they're doing their job properly, then you even actually got to take into consideration guys like the refs and the replay guys, because if they're not doing their job properly, that affects you, right? So it's the point is it's more than just one fucking person. It's absurd. It's absurd. So yeah, I didn't like it then, and I told you guys it was fucking stupid because it was fucking stupid. Okay, so that was a complete shit show and a complete fucking waste. So they gave away that 2019 second and 2020 fifth for absolutely fucking nothing. And he ended up being, of course, one of the first round picks that they, busted on or whatever. And so, whatever. All right, so let's continue on, because there's more. August 30th, 2019, traded a 2020 7th round pick to Minnesota for guard Danny Isidora. And this is what he says. This was pretty inconsequential for both ends. Okay, so I don't know, because I don't follow the Vikings. I don't know what they ended up using that 2020 7th round pick on. I don't know the player. I don't know if it panned out for them. It was only a 7th round pick, so I'm pretty sure they didn't really give a fuck, right? All that much. It's one of those late round picks that hopefully you can find a gem, whatever. But it doesn't matter because I follow the Dolphins. Danny Isidora didn't do shit for the Dolphins. So you can't say that, he came in, didn't do shit for you, and then fucking and hasn't done anything for you, and that's inconsequential. That is not the definition of inconsequential. No, in fact, that is the definition of consequential. It had consequences for your team, and it was bad consequences because he didn't pan out. He didn't pan out. So what kind of fucking analysis is that? And that's why I say that it's clearly biased towards the Dolphins, because that is a super flowery, like beat around the bush, super fucking sugar-coated way of saying it didn't fucking work out and it was a bad way. Because I think that's kind of what he's saying, but it's hard to tell because it sounds so fucking, it sounds like it's fucking sugar-coated shit. Anyway, so that clearly was not a good fucking trade. Yet another one. So up to this point, they literally haven't made a single good trade. Not one. And we've gone through the first 4 out of 19. Let's continue on. August 31st, 2019. So just a day later. Traded a 2020 6th round pick to Indianapolis for center guard Evan Boehm and a 2020 7th round pick. Boehm started 8 games in 2019 for a rebuilding team, so that's not a bad return for a 7th round pick. Except where is he now? So he's not here for the long term. They tanked that season. Again, what do you mean? They literally tanked that fucking season. And he didn't play all that great. How do you call that any kind of a good fucking return? It's ridiculous. Anyway, they did end up trading though. Oh, wait. Let me back up. I'm so sorry. Hang on. It looks like I might have put it in the wrong place. Oh, no. That was with... Okay. Excuse me. The next trade, or that same trade with Evan Boehm, the 7th round pick, they got Evan Boehm and a 7th round pick. That 7th round pick, so Evan Boehm didn't work out. Again, another failed evaluation and a player that didn't pan out for them. And then that 2020 7th round pick ended up getting traded away to the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll get more on that because that's, involves other trades as well. But so, up to this point, out of all of these trades, every single one of the draft picks that they got, they ended up trading away. Or the one that they used, the 2019 7th rounder on Chandler Cox, he's not here. Those other players, Josh Rosen, Danny Isidora, Evan Boehm, not here. Didn't pan out. So none of these trades so far are good trades. Not a single fucking one of them. They've all been bad. Okay, let's move on, because now we're actually getting to the one that everybody was raving about and said that the Dolphins did wonderful at. September 1st, 2019. Traded tackle Laramie Tunsil, wide receiver Kenny Stills. You know how I feel about that too. They put Kenny Stills in there because of that drama between him and Ross and Flores, which I think is bullshit. And yes, that's one of the primary reasons why I dislike Flores, and why a large reason why I believe he's a liar and a sellout piece of shit, because of how he treated Kenny Stills in that whole fucking situation. Anyway, I digress. Traded Laramie Tunsil, wide receiver Kenny Stills, a 2020 4th round pick, and a 2021 6th round pick to Houston for defensive back Johnson Batamosi, tackle Julian Davenport, a 2020 1st round pick, a 2020 2nd round pick, and a 2021 1st round pick. Tunsil is an elite left tackle. This is what he has to say. Tunsil is an elite left tackle, but there was never any way to not like this trade. No, there are plenty of ways to not like it, because it was stupid. And the funny thing is too, is Bill O'Brien was still there, and as terrible as he is, he fleeced us on this, fleeced us on it. I mean, it's because, again, let me tell you what happened to all of that stuff. But anyway, let me finish what he had to say. Not then, not last year, and certainly not now that it's given the Dolphins the 3rd overall pick. Okay. So he's saying it's still a wonderful trade because right now the Dolphins have the 3rd overall pick. But first of all, what if they use that pick and it doesn't pan out? But also, what if they end up trading that pick away to go get Deshaun Watson to replace Tua, who they just took in the 1st round last year? How's that defense going to hold up? Probably not very good. But let's take a look at that. So we gave away Laramie Tunsil, an elite left tackle, who the guy we have currently right now is definitely not that. But we gave up an elite left tackle, a blue chip player, and Kenny Stills, who's a really good deep threat wide receiver, a number 2, number 3 at worst but definitely a strong number 2 receiver and did really good things for us. We gave them up a 2024th and a 2021 6th. What do we get? Johnson Batamosi didn't do really much of anything for us, so like no return there. Julian Davenport was trash, no return there. The 2020 first round pick, okay, that we got from them, the 2020 first round pick, we ended up trading that away, okay, dropped back a couple spots. This was a draft day trade. We did that 2020 first round pick to get Green Bay's 2020 first round pick. I believe we went from 26th to 30th, if I'm not mistaken. And with that pick, in the final, our final pick in the first round, we took Noah Igbenogany, who has been very underwhelming to this point. And, I mean, frankly, I'm not even personally convinced he's going to have a long tenure on the Dolphins. But he has been very underwhelming to this point. Instead, I actually would have taken, if I'm not mistaken, Xavier McKinney or something like that. I think that's his name. The top safety in the draft. I would have taken him instead. And then they actually could have gotten like J.K. Dobbins with their first pick in the second round. But instead they did other dumb shit. Anyway, so the 2 players that we got were garbage. Then we traded away the first round pick from 2020. We traded it to move back to get Noah Igbenogany, a few picks later, and a 2020 fourth round pick, which was later then traded away to Houston. So again, where's the return? All the picks end up either getting traded away or for players that are not good or haven't proven to be good, not even close yet. Okay, let's continue on because it's still not done yet. We're only scratching the surface. Well, to be fair, we're like getting close to halfway, but it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. How can you look at this and be like, yeah, dude, the Dolphins are killing these fucking trades, bro? Like, really? Okay, let's continue on. September 2nd, 2019, traded linebacker Kiko Alonso to New Orleans for linebacker Vince Beagle. Beagle's status on the team is cloudy because he's a pending unrestricted free agent, but Alonso did little but battle with injuries with the Saints, and he then was traded to the 49ers last year. This also helped with the salary cap. Okay, look, I mean, you can use salary cap in all of these arguments. That's not a good argument if the rest of the context makes you look like a fucking idiot because your evaluation skills suck, because you're fucking, failing at fucking almost everything you do. Like, they lucked into a 10-6 season this past year. Anyway, but look, and I really liked Kiko Alonso. It is true, though, that he did battle injuries and then got traded, etc., but frankly, that's not even really all that relevant, because what's important is what did they get? Now, Vince Beagle, he actually showed some flashes that first year when he first came over. And I was like, okay, maybe not. But he kind of faded off this past year. And again, might not even end up being on the team in the long term. Probably not, right? So, again, where's the spectacular return? Where is the spectacular return that the Dolphins are getting from these transactions? Let's continue on. September 16th. This is another big one. September 16th, 2019, traded safety Minkah Fitzpatrick, a 2020 fourth round pick, and a 2021 seventh round pick to Pittsburgh for a 2020 first round pick, a 2021 fifth round pick, and a 2021 sixth round pick. Real quick, I do just want to back up for about half a second, because I did forget to mention in the Stills Tunsil trade or whatever, obviously we still have the 2021 first round pick, which as of right now is the 3rd overall pick. We still do own it. We'll have to wait and see what they do. My guess is that they're probably going to trade that away along with a few other first round picks, etc., and Tua to get Watson, but that hasn't happened yet, and there is certainly a possibility it doesn't. But we do have the 3rd overall pick currently, and we also do still have the 2021 second round pick from that trade as well, which is undetermined because that's the 50th overall pick in this draft. So we obviously have to wait and see how they use that. Although that could also be one of the potential fucking bargaining chip pieces that they use. I think that it is very possible that the Dolphins could go at a minimum the 3rd, the 18th overall pick from this year, a first from next year, and then that second round pick from this year, if not an additional second round pick from next year, and another first round pick from the 2023 draft. That's about as high as I think they would go with Tua in the package, right? So as of right now, we still do have those. Okay, getting back to the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade. This is one that will be revisited for a while, particularly if Fitzpatrick continues piling up all-pro honors like he did in his first 2 seasons with the Steelers. Because I told you guys he's a fucking boss. And I told you guys, no, he's not being whiny. He's just fucking essentially standing up for himself and saying that what's going on is stupid. He doesn't want to play on a team that was clearly fucking tanking in 2019, and they were misusing the shit out of him. Who wants to play 8 fucking positions on a defense? I'm sorry, bro. Like, if you're fucking... I mean, look. More power to you if you're one of those guys that's like, I'll do everything and fucking, you know, so that way you can earn, you know, good faith and brownie points and you can get that versatility. Like, but bro, I'm telling you, if you gotta play 8 especially if some of those positions are not really fit for your body type, like some of those linebacker positions they were trying to have him play, no, bro. And then some people were like, oh, but, you know, they were trying to say some bullshit like, but, you know, they only think of him as a slot corner and not really a free safety. Like K Flexen was saying, oh, well, if we drafted him as a fucking slot corner, okay, good, get rid of him because you don't take slot corners in the first round. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but okay, sure, whatever. If you think that, it doesn't matter because he wasn't drafted to be a slot corner. He was drafted to be a free safety. Point blank, bottom line, period. That was his primary role in college and his primary role here, especially with Adam Gase. And then he played a little bit of boundary and a fair amount of slot corner. That is true. He did play a fair amount, but he played those as secondary and tertiary positions. Okay? His primary is free safety. Anyway, so let's see. It also will depend on how Austin Jackson, taken with that 2020 first round pick, develops an NFL offensive lineman. Early on, though, this one isn't looking good. Well, again, that is putting it super fucking nicely, because let's take a further look. So we gave up Minkah Fitzpatrick, who of course is balling the fuck out, and I told you he was gonna. And why? Because they put him at his fucking right position. Okay, but anyway, and then a 2020 fourth and a 2021 seventh. That's what we gave up. We got a 2020 first, okay, which we took Austin Jackson. Putting it nicely, he left a lot to be desired and has a long way to go. Maybe he will, you know, pan out and prove to be the guy, but I mean, then they did also just trade, which we'll get to, Isaiah Wilson, another first round tackle. And they just took 2 first round offensive linemen and then another one later this past season. And they're already saying that they don't think some of these guys are going to work out. I mean, it's spectacularly awful. It really is. Anyway, so then the 2020 5th round pick that they got in that trade, they used on Jason Stroudsbridge, who didn't really do anything this past season. He's going to have an opportunity for sure this next season. But not really any return to this point. So again, still halfway through this list, and the Dolphins have seen no tangible, no legitimate return that is going to translate into anything substantial or consistent for a long period of time. Anyway, and then they also got a 2021 6th round pick, okay, which obviously is this upcoming draft. And that's 183 overall, so we still have to wait and see how they do with that. But it's not, you know, he says early on, though, this one isn't looking good. Bro, it's looking like absolute shit. And I told you it was shit then, and it's shit now. Okay? Anyway, let's continue on. Let's see. October 28th, 2019, traded running back Kenyon Drake to Arizona for a 2020 5th round pick. For some reason, Drake never gained traction in Miami no matter what he did. Include the Miracle in Miami. And there was no way he was going to re-sign as a free agent last offseason, so might as well get a draft pick for him. Okay, that's not even super accurate, because he actually did really well when he was with Adam Gase and in that system with the team that he was building. Right, because he had a role in a Chiefs-style offense that was going to work with other guys like Devontae Parker and Jakeem Grant and Albert Wilson and Allen Hurns and so on and so forth, right? Like, they were building, I think he was building something great. And what do you mean, dude? There were so many good Drake runs when he was with the Dolphins, especially during his time with Adam Gase. Like, that's just not accurate. And then you're literally going to say that the Miami Miracle doesn't even count? What is that? What is that? What do you mean? What do you mean? He could never gain traction, no matter what he did, include the Miami Miracle. I mean, sure, on one hand, it is just a single play. Again, he had plenty of big plays for the Dolphins. Okay. Both in the run game and in the pass game, because he was a very versatile back. Which, and let's also not forget that he's been doing great things for the Cardinals. He's been one of their feature backs and has done good things for them since he's been there. But I mean, it's just absurd. It's one play, but even that one play is an example. What he gained so much traction that he beat the entire Patriots defense and made Rob Gronkowski stumble and look like a fucking idiot. I mean, what is this analysis? What are you talking about? Okay, sure. So they trade that. They get a 2020 fifth round pick, which I do mention it in a couple lines from now, but that ended up being traded away for Matt Breida. That didn't really work out so much either. Damn, that's crazy. How's about that? But let's continue on. October, because let's go in chronological order. October 29th, 2019, traded a 2022 seventh round pick to the Los Angeles Rams. So one of our 2022 picks now is already gone, way in the future, to the Rams for cornerback Aqib Talib and a 2020 fifth round pick. Obviously, Aqib Talib was a complete fucking waste. 100% fucking waste. Didn't even suit up or play for us at all. This was strictly about the Rams paying the Dolphins to help them take Talib off their books. So what are we? Just some fucking, like, I don't even know. What are we? Like the league's bitch where fucking teams can just come to us and be like, bro, like, we need to get rid of this dude. Eat some of his fucking contract, bro. Like, just do it. Just fucking do it. Right? Like, because that's what it sounds like. What do you mean? Like we're bullied into fucking doing it and we're just gonna fucking say yes. Like, we didn't get anything from this. Okay? Then, because that 2020 fifth round pick that we got was traded to Philadelphia. And I mentioned earlier that the 2020 seventh round pick that we got in the Evan Boehm trade was traded to Philadelphia. So what was that? So those were a fifth and a seventh. We traded both of those 2020 picks, a 2025th and a 2027th, for a 2025th round pick. We used that 2025th round pick on Curtis Weaver, who's no longer on the fucking team. Again, another one of the Dolphins fucking draft picks that they already cut, right? Chandler Cox, Curtis Weaver, and Isaiah Prince. Like, what? Who says that they're good at player evaluations? Who says that they're good at executing trades? Who says that they're good at at their drafts? Who says that they're good at fucking, bringing in reclamation stories like former first round picks? They're terrible at all of it. Every single fucking bit of it. Again, still to this point, there is no legitimate return that the Dolphins have gotten from a single fucking trade. Not one. Not one. It's like mind-blowing how terrible they are. It's fucking nuts. Okay, continuing on. April 25th, 2020, traded a 2020 fifth round pick to San Francisco for running back Matt Breida. I did already mention this. This really looked like a good trade at the time, but for some reason Breida never became a factor on offense last season, and now it's almost impossible to see him re-signing with the Dolphins. I wonder who told you at the time that it wasn't a good trade, that it wasn't a good idea, or really that anything the Dolphins have done the past 2 years under this regime has been a good idea. I wonder if there was even anybody out there that said anything close to that. Because if there was, man, I would really love to know who they are and be able to talk to them and meet them, man, because fuck, I've been lied to this whole time because I've been told I've been told that I'm just some negative asshole that doesn't know what I'm talking about, and the Dolphins are doing wonderful fucking things. Okay. Continuing on, May 1st, 2020, traded defensive end Charles Harris for a 2021 7th-round pick. This trade marked the end of Harris's time in Miami and closed the door on a disappointing first-round selection. Harris did have a career-high 3 sacks for Atlanta last season. I mean, look, admittedly, that was one of the Gase draft picks that didn't work out. But every single one of the Gase drafts was phenomenal. It had guys like Tunsil and Fitzpatrick and McMillan and Drake and Baker and Gesicki and Godshaw and Sanders. Ooh. He hit on at least 50% of each one of his drafts, Adam Gase did. Not to mention pulled in some superstars. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, really? It's not even a fucking comparison. Adam Gase was a fucking superstar with his drafts compared to how these guys have been. It's night and day. It really is. Anyway, and then like I said, that 2021 7th round pick just got traded away to the Tennessee Titans for Isaiah Wilson, that offensive lineman that could be replacing one of the draft picks that they just took last year, who may not even pan out either, right? Again, I mean, where do people, I like, it's mind-blowing. I don't understand where people get their confidence in this organization. I just don't. Okay, continuing on. July 25th, 2020, traded a 2021 6th-round pick to Chicago for tight end Adam Shaheen. Because Shaheen proved to be a solid backup at tight end, this was a good move because of the small price involved to get him. Yeah, I mean, honestly, with that one, for the most part, I agree. But at the same time, like, really? Like, really? Because he's just kind of right? Like, he's just alright. And our offense fucking sucked last year. And it's, as of right now, not looking like it's going to be much better. Right? I mean, they have a new offensive coordinator too, right? So new playbooks and shit like that. The chemistry, they're going to have a very new team and a new roster. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure COVID's still going to be fucking kicking people's ass in this next season, but okay. And so real quick, by the way, that 2021 6th round pick that they traded for Adam Shaheen actually came though when the Dolphins traded away, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was the 251st overall pick, which was a compensatory pick we had in the 7th round. We traded that away. It was our last pick in the draft, and we traded it away to the Seattle Seahawks. We didn't get to pick again after that, right? We traded away 2020 7th rounder for a 2021 6th rounder. That was a draft day trade in 2020, the 2020 draft. Right? Our last fucking pick of that draft, we traded away for a 2021 6th rounder, which we then traded for Adam Shaheen to just be a kind of an alright tight end. Okay, sure, these guys are fucking brilliant. Continue on. August 29th, 2020, traded linebacker Raekwon McMillan and a 2021 5th round pick to Las Vegas for a 2021 4th round pick. Let's also mention that he was, the year before they traded him, he was pretty much our entire run defense. Like, that one player was pretty much our entire run defense, and they decided to trade him away. Okay, so they traded him away, Raekwon McMillan and a 2021 5th rounder, which was their own 5th rounder from that year. Okay. For a 2021 4th rounder. Okay. They then took that 4th rounder and then traded it back to the Raiders for Lynn Bowden Jr. and a 2021 6th rounder. Lynn Bowden Jr., I don't know if you guys know this, but didn't really do much for us last year. Who knows if he's even going to be on the fucking team? Who fucking knows? That 2021 6th rounder that they got in that trade, oh, they traded it away to Kansas City. What did they get? Oh, they got DeAndre Washington and a 2021 7th rounder, which they then traded away to Tennessee for Isaiah Wilson. They also did trade, and this is honestly probably the best trade that they've done. They traded Isaiah Ford to the New England Patriots for a 2022 6th-round pick, and then the Patriots ended up cutting him, and the Dolphins got him back. That's probably their best trade, because they got a 6th-round pick out of the Patriots, and then got the player back. Although, who knows if he's actually going to even remain on the team at this point. And to wrap it up, they traded, as we all know, they just traded, and I mentioned this a couple times before already. Hold on, let me get through his analysis of those other ones. November 3rd, 2020, traded a 2021 6th-round pick to Kansas City for running back DeAndre Washington and a 2021 7th-round pick. Washington never got much of a chance with the Dolphins and likely will leave as a free agent, so pretty inconsequential. Again, that's not the definition of inconsequential. If they come here and they don't give you any return on your investment, if they don't do anything for you, if there's no benefit, that's not what is called inconsequential. No, in fact, that is very consequential and with a negative connotation to it. Okay. Also November 3rd, 2020, traded wide receiver Isaiah Ford to New England for a 2026 round pick. The Dolphins stole a 6th-round pick from the Patriots because they never used Ford before cutting him, and he returned to Miami. So that is true. Like I said, that's probably the best trade that they've done. That's literally the only one where they've had just a pure profit, right? Because they got the player back and they got the free pick. Now we have to wait and see how they use that pick. I don't know. But yeah. And then, of course, finally, let's see. 2021 traded a 2021 7th-round pick to Tennessee for tackle Isaiah Wilson and a 2022 7th-round pick. So obviously we have to wait and see what that 2020 7th-round pick turns into. It's a 7th-round pick, so whatever. And the Dolphins suck at their evaluations and drafts, so I don't have confidence. And then they traded Shaq Lawson, one of the big-name free agents. Again, another one after just getting rid of Kyle Van Noy. So already now the big-name free agents from last offseason, Jordan Howard, Kyle Van Noy, and Shaq Lawson are already gone. Who knows if Eric Flowers or Landon Roberts or Byron Jones is going to last the rest of their contracts. Probably not. But Shaq Lawson's gone now too. Traded him and a 2021 6th-round pick to Houston for linebacker Benardrick McKinney and a 2021 7th-rounder. This is a case of two players going to defensive systems that better fit their skill set. Well, I fucking hope so. And I hope this fucking pans out because, again, as we just clearly went through, the Dolphins have been terrible. Absolutely fucking terrible. The amount of return that they have gotten for their investments, and it's a pretty lengthy. I mean, we just went through 19 trades. But I added in trades that weren't in this list because they were day of trades, right? Draft day trades. And then there are a couple on the back. And literally, the amount of fucking return that they have gotten has been like little to none. And it's been terrible. Not to mention, again, the fact that, you know, their drafts have been terrible, their evaluations terrible, they can't fucking put together a coaching staff to save their life, at least not one that's going to stick around for any long period of time, not yet. Anyway, they're in year 3, and they're already going to have fucking, you know, what is it now, like their 3rd or 4th offensive coordinator, they're going to be on like their 5th or 6th offensive line coach. Like, what the fuck? They've had a couple defensive coordinators now. Like, where's the fucking consistency? Where's the chemistry? Where is any of that? They're fucking terrible at all of it. All of it. Not a single bit of it are they good at. I'm telling you, man, they really lucked into a 10-6 win season. They are not that good, and they are going to regress this next year. Because, again, as they've proven, first of all, their history over the past 2 years is terrible. But with that history, you can reasonably expect that this next draft they're not going to do well at. They're not going to pick the right guys at the right positions. They're not going to fucking, you know, they're going to go for guys who, you know, they're going to take chances on guys who have injury histories or off the field issues, right? They're going to be big spenders in free agency like they've already told us, one, with their mouths, and two, with the fucking moves that they've made, right? So, like, you know, and again, I still think that they're probably going to be making that swing for Deshaun Watson. So, you know, I really, I can't for the love of me figure out where people get their confidence in this organization and think that the things that they are doing are putting them on the right path for success, either in the short term or the long term. But hey, anyway, again, that's why the other Dolphins YouTubers have way more fucking followers and subscribers than I do, because they're all flowery and they sugarcoat shit for you before feeding it to you. I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna do that. Like, I got more respect, right, for not just you guys, but for truth and for reality. So I'm not gonna just sit here and shit on a platter and then pour sugar on it and then present it to you like it's a fucking 3-course meal. Like, I'm not gonna do that, because that's not what it is. Okay? So, anyway, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Hope you guys appreciate my perspectives. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. And of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Phins up.